Hey everyone, this is Codemic, and welcome to episode 1 of The Fall of Detroit. In this exciting new series, we're going to be taking a look at the rise and fall of Detroit by looking at a series of abandoned buildings around the city and discussing what happened and why the city is so abandoned now. In 2013, Detroit filed for bankruptcy. It was the largest municipal bankruptcy in the United States history. It came out of bankruptcy at the end of 2014, and the city is still struggling with debt, crime, and abandoned buildings, obviously. So we're going to start off by taking a look at the Packard Plan, and discussing the rise of the Packard Plant, the rise of the Packard Company, and what it looks like now, and what the future plans are for the site. At 3.5 million square feet, the Packard plant was no laughing matter. The plant was designed by Albert Kahn Associates using trusted concrete steel company products. Now what makes this a very unique thing is this reinforced steel was the first use of reinforced steel by an industrial automotive company in America. The plant was opened in 1903 and was soon expanded, including expansion to a 4th-story in plant number 10 in 1911. The plant was eventually closed in 1958, although other businesses operated in the factory area until the late 1990s. These buildings were mainly used as offices or storage and whatnot, and the last remaining tenant, Chemical Processing, left the property in 2010 after 52 years of being operating out of the property. As you might guess, the Packard Automobile Factory was named after the Packard Motor Company, which owned it. The Packard Motor Company was founded in 1899 as a luxury automobile marquee. The actual last Packard Company existed in 1958 before it merged with Studebaker to form Packard Studebaker Company. That company lasted until the mid-60s when Studebaker decided to drop Packard from its name, so it just reverted back to the Studebaker Company. The early days of Detroit are really interesting in that it's just a bunch of smaller companies trying to merge their way into some sort of conglomerate to try to compete with the bigger shots of Ford and General Motors. The demise of Packard really mirrors the demise of Detroit itself. The company grew and grew and grew until about the 1950s, when a series of mergers eventually killed the company off itself. Now Detroit, through this series of mergers and consolidations, now I'm just not talking Packard and Studebaker, I'm talking the whole automotive industry in general was merging at this time in order to stay more competitive and save costs and stuff. And when you merge two companies, there's always a reduction in workforce. And over time, this just became too much for Detroit to handle. The suburbanization, families moving outside of the city to try to get a better quality of life, eventually led to factories just like the Packard factory to be abandoned. And today, all over the city, there's just rust belts, just rotting factories, wishing they could go back to days gone by of when they were still producing high-quality cars, just like the Packard Company. The story of the Packard plant may just now have a happy ending. As recently as 2014, there was plans announced to renovate the property and turn it into a new industrial complex for startup companies. The new owner is a woman from Texas. Now renovations were underway, they're demolishing some of the more unstable parts. There have been quite a few news stories on this and things, and we'll just have to see how this really happens, and if companies really want to move back into Detroit. Just because you build a nice office space doesn't mean people are going to come, but maybe, just maybe, this Packard plant still has some life left in it. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of Abandoned History's The Rise and Fall of Detroit. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, and leave any feedback in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys real soon.